Hard time is a video game equivalent to childbirth. After enjoying the relative comfort of the womb, you're thrust squirming and screaming into the world. Everything is loud. You have no clue what's going on. You don't even know how to move around properly and nothing makes any damn sense. That's the only way I know how to describe my first experience with MDickie's Hard Time. I created my character, chose my crime, and then I was thrust into what I can only assume is a true-to-life recreation of the US judicial system. Entering the prison, I stumbled around trying to learn how to move, accidentally picked up a cigarette trying to answer a phone, got into trouble for holding the cigarette, accidentally put the guard in a headlock trying to skip dialogue, went to the cafeteria where an all-out brawl was taking place. During that time, the cafeteria was hit by a terrorist attack, I had a mental breakdown, attacked the nearest inmate, got dissed for my yee-ass haircut, and then promptly died, all within 1 hour of starting the game. I knew then and there that this was a masterpiece. Hard Time, the 3D version, made by infamous indie developer MDickie, takes an experience that you either have to be ethically dubious or extremely unlucky to know, and turns it into a video game. You are a disgraced wrestler, sentenced to serve time in the Southtown Correctional Facility. There you'll learn some brand new phrases, such as shiv, chin check, and bussy. Depending on the severity of your wrestling related crime, can be anywhere from 1 to 2 months. Your objective? Survive. It may not be a long time, but it will be a hard time. Roll credits. Before I tell you any more about this weird and chaotic game, I need to tell you more about its weird and chaotic one-man development team. MDickie was born with one T and one goal in life: to create the greatest wrestling game the world has ever seen. Has he achieved his goal yet? No. But each day he suplexes his way 1 inch closer to it. And on his journey to redefine the wrestling experience in gaming, he has also redefined the religious experience in gaming as well. In 2008, he released the New Testament, where you follow Jesus Christ's journey in the Bible to a mixed reception, and then followed up with the sequel in 2010, The Making of a Prophet, based on the life of the Prophet Muhammad. I wonder why I can't find that one on his website. But before The Making of a Prophet, before the New Testament, there was Hard Time in 2006. MDickie himself claims that he made the game in just 3 months, and I believe him. The fighting mechanics are just ported from his other games, the camera doesn't cooperate half the time, the AI is completely schizophrenic, and I can only describe the models in this game as meaty Roblox characters. The main menu cannot even run at more than 2 frames per second on my PC. To get it to work on Windows 10, first you need to start the game, then open the task manager, leave the task manager running, then reopen the game. The game now runs at a perfectly stable frame rate. This game is a mystery. Before you do the time, you need to do the crime. And by that I mean crime against nature, which is most likely what your character will end up becoming. You're able to create some real abominations. The game actually takes your race into account too, and certain characters will let you know how they feel about your skin color. Along with that, you can adjust your 3 main stats with a point-buy system. These stats are Strength, used for crafting things and king-hitting wardens from behind, Agility, to make you move faster, and Intelligence, so that you can concoct drugs and watch the cash roll in. At this point, you might be thinking, never hard. What in Allah's great name do you actually do in this game? Hard Time is a Hell in the Cell match turned almost literal. You're dropped off in the Southtown Correctional Facility with up to 100 other AI-controlled NPCs. While you serve your time, you need to foster good relationships with other NPCs, maintain your physical health, and also your mental health. And this prison will do everything in its power to make sure none of that happens. The Southtown Correctional Facility is littered with weapons, insane inmates, and bipolar wardens. One moment, you could be attacked by a fellow inmate, and in the process of trying to defend yourself, get swarmed by a bunch of wardens, only to watch them accidentally judo throw each other into the ground. By that point, they've completely forgotten about your alleged crime, and continue to beat each other half to death while you walk away thinking, what the hell is going on? The prison has a schedule. Get up at 7 AM, have your only meal at 1 PM, and back in your cell by 10 PM. Everything else in between is dictated purely by yourself and the insane scenarios the game puts you in. For example, if your mental health is getting low, you can go to the main hall to watch TV to pass the time. Or if you've fallen ill or recently got beaten over the head with a brick, you can visit the hospital to heal. If you've recently started a fight or found yourself caught in the crossfire of a brawl, you might be approached by other NPCs offering to defend you for a price, or perhaps threaten you for hurting their friends. There's a fully fledged relationship system which seems to work at least 60% of the time. NPCs are like toddlers. If they like you, they really like you, and if they hate you, they will gather their friends and beat you to death while you're trying to watch TV. They also remember the things you've done, including to them, their friends, and their enemies. Friendly NPCs will lend their help if you get into trouble, ask you to join their gangs, or even try to sell you stuff. Unfriendly NPCs will harass you, randomly punch you in the back of the head every now and then, and sell you out to the wardens if you commit a crime. The idea behind the relationship mechanics is that over the course of a playthrough, you see an interconnected web of friendships and rivalries develop across the entire prison. If an NPC's friend gets attacked in the cafeteria, all of their friends will jump in to help them. At least that's how I think it's supposed to work. The game is so ridiculously unclear about its own systems that you'll only be able to understand the game after your own trial and error. I could be completely wrong about everything for all I know. It's just such a weird, broken and unrefined game that it feels impossible to place what is pure random bugginess and what is working as intended. And yet I can't look away. I haven't even mentioned the controls or the moment-to-moment gameplay. You move using tank controls. Combine that with the awful camera, and you'll be running into walls, getting accidentally caught up in fights, and missing doors left, right and center. Once you're in the thick of it, you have one button for basic attacks, one for grappling, and another for picking up items. There is absolutely no guarantee that you'll hit who you intended to hit, or pick up what you intended to pick up. If you're suddenly locked in a conversation, hostile NPCs will swarm around you and wait for the millisecond the conversation ends, so they can slam you to the ground and beat you to death. You manage your physical health by sleeping, eating your 1 square meal per day, and visiting the hospital if you're injured or sick. If your health drops to 0, sometimes it refills, sometimes it doesn't. I honestly don't understand how health works. Once it hits 0, you die, and the game deletes your save. Thank God. At the same time, you need to manage your mental health by sleeping, enjoying some leisure activities, or by doing certain jobs to earn money. If your mental health drops too low, you'll enter a psychotic rage that causes you to attack everybody around you. It even takes dialogue options out of your hands. It's complete chaos almost all the time. Let me tell you a story from one of my most recent adventures. After getting into trouble with the law for a crime I did not commit, and backed into a corner by 2 wardens, I picked up a meat cleaver and cut off one of the warden's arms. They eventually beat me enough to arrest me and drag me back to court, charging me with grievous bodily harm. There were several witnesses to the crime. I had a violent past, and I looked like exactly the type of person who would indulge in a little dismemberment from time to time. They should have extended my sentence for the rest of my life. They should have put me in the hole and thrown away the key, but through sheer luck, we not only convinced the judge that the warden had done it to himself, but also got the judge to chastise the other warden for letting things get so out of hand in the first place. We returned to jail that very same day, and nobody's forgotten. Everybody who likes Warden Rimmer now absolutely hates me, and the warden himself still has to work there. Every day I live in fear of the man who has the power and the motivation to incite the mob against me. It's this proto-Shadow of Mordor nemesis system that keeps me coming back, and the whole game as a concept is just so intriguing. I can't help but imagine a game like this with a proper budget and a code that isn't held together with spaghetti. MDickie has spent over 2 decades making games for himself. He deserves to be respected for following his own path. Somebody hire this man. Make him the creative director of his own project. Give him the budget and adequate resources to match his ambitions. Let him make some crazy high concept game and find a way to shoehorn wrestling mechanics into it. Don't let him code it. Don't let him code it. If he can make Hard Time in 3 months single-handedly, imagine the monstrosity he could create with an entire team in 3 years. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I really appreciate it. See you next time.